Hello, crafty friends. Thank you for joining me for my very first online technique series. And this is video number 1 for January's watercolor technique. And I wanted to show you how to make a really beautiful watercolor background. And we're going to use a couple different tools. So let's go ahead and get started making this very beautiful card. All right, so you should have your kit with all of the pieces that you need. I'm going to show you how we color this piece of designer series paper. This is the Petal Passion Suite out of the New Occasions catalog, and all the paper is black and white patterns, and then it has been just a blast coloring all of these pieces. The first thing that you want to make sure you're really careful with is that this is not watercolor paper. So it's thinner than watercolor paper, it's not as sturdy, and so you don't want to be rubbing a bunch of color. You don't want to use your aqua painter too forcefully on the paper. You're going to start to tear the paper. So you have to be careful in that aspect. But I'm going to show you how, if you get the paper really wet, you're able to get the color on the paper and then let it dry. So what I like to do is just spray water onto my paper first. Now you could do that with a spritzer or any type of spray bottle. So I'm just going to get my paper really wet. I'm just going to lay down a piece of paper towel underneath it so that I don't get my entire station super wet. So I'm just going to get this nice and wet there. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I have my ink, which is powder pink, and there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can squish the lid and get the ink on the lid itself, or what I'm going to do is I'm taking a block and I am going to be actually putting ink onto the block. So now I've got ink on my block, and I'm going to use that with my aqua painter. And I'm just squeezing some water into the tip of my aqua painter, picking up the color from my block, and I want it really juicy and really pink, and then you can just start spreading it over your paper. And you don't, again, like I said, you don't want to rub in one spot too long, because I'm getting more ink on my block, because the paper will start to tear, because it's not truly watercolor paper. And I need to get this even more wet. Kind of dried as I was talking. But you'll get, the wetter your paper, the more the ink will spread. And I need more ink. This is a light color. And I need more water. You're going to need a lot of water. I'm just kind of filling in where I feel like it needs more color. And the beauty about watercolor is that you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to just spread through the paper as if it naturally, as if I didn't use a tool to place it there. So just getting it onto the paper, spreading it around. Now, I want to show you another way that you can do this. You can watercolor without using the aqua painter. You can actually, I'm just squeezing out the color of my aqua painter until it goes clear. So now I know it's clean. Another way that you can do this, and I'm just going to get a little scrap piece so you can see, is I'm going to put that up there to dry. Is you can actually put ink on your block, and I'm going to spray my paper. You can put ink on your block, and you can actually just stamp it with the block and just hold it there and let the paper soak up the color for a minute, and it leaves a really pretty watercolor impression. Isn't that cool? So I kind of overlapped there a little bit, but that is another way that you can color the paper. I'm gonna actually see if I can just blend that out a little bit with my aqua painter. So there you go. So two kind of different looks, right? One's more of a solid kind of speckly look, and the other one is more of like a brushed look. And then, since I'm impatient, I am going to get my heat gun and I'm going to dry it. Okay, now that your paper is dry, and don't worry if it curls up a little bit on you, because when you use the adhesive, if you use strong adhesive like Fast Fuse, it will just lay down flat. Okay, to assemble our card, each of you should have a piece of powder pink cardstock, and it is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, okay, and then scored at 5 1/2. So there is the base of your card. And all you want to do, oh, you're also going to have a piece of black cardstock, and that's going to be the back to your designer series paper. So you'll just assemble your card by putting a strong adhesive on the back of your designer series paper. I use Fast Fuse because it holds your projects together forever, and you will never have a problem with it coming apart. And I'm even going to put some in the center because my paper is pretty warped. Oh, and I just went to the end of my Fast Fuse, so I'm actually going to have to replace that. So I just center that up, and once you place it down, people, there is no going back. So that is the only thing about Fast Fuse, is it's not very forgiving. So just make sure you're careful in that area. Okay, so see, once I put it on the black paper, it lays flat. And then now I can glue this to my powder pink base. So I'll just use some runner for that. Okay. So I'm gluing that on to the center of my piece. And make sure you glue it the way that you want your pattern facing. Like if you want your flowers upright, make sure that your card opens the right way. I have done that before where I have actually glued it upside down. The next thing we need to do is we actually need to stamp our sentiment. I'll bring you my original back in. And it says some things are just meant to be like the two of you together. And that's actually out of the Petal palette stamp set. It's a two set because there's so many amazing stamps in it. And this is the stamp set that we want, or the specific stamp we want. Okay, we're going to put that on a block, and we're going to get our black ink. I cut out a circle and a scallop using the layering circles, framelits. So get that nice and inky. Stamp it in the center of our circle. There we go. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to glue the scallop circle down in the back. And it's going to be offset a little bit. So we just need to put some adhesive on the back of our circle. Glue that down. And then we're going to put dimensionals on the back of our white circle. If I can get the dimensionals out. Look how pretty this background is. Are you seeing? See, this one came out a little bit lighter, but I actually kind of like the white popping through. And that's the thing with watercolor, is it's never going to be the same twice. Water is different, and every piece is going to be individual and unique. And I like that. Okay, so I'm going to offset that, glue it down with dimensionals, okay? And then I also cut out a powder pink heart, and that is out of the Sweet and Sassy framelits. They have 2 different shapes of hearts in that set, which I love having the options, okay? And then we've got 2 pieces of ribbon in your pack. You have this thin silver shiny ribbon, which is beautiful, and the new organza ribbon out of the Occasions catalog. So I actually have 2 sets of the ribbon, and they are going to be glued to the back of the heart, and just kind of creates a tail for the heart. And the way that I glued it down was with a glue dot. So I actually used glue dots to glue these suckers down. Glue dots are fast and easy. So I'm actually going to put the dot on the back of the heart. And the way that I do that, I just stick the heart directly on there and get the little glue dot off. And I'm going to glue my ribbon to the back of that. And then I need another glue dot to glue I need another glue dot for my second ribbon. So it's going to be like so. You can kind of play with it and move it around where you want. And then you need a dimensional for the heart. I'm going to put it on the back, on top of everything, and peel off the backing. And that is just going to go right to the side of the circle, just like so. Okay, and then you each should have an embellishment, and this is out of the Petal Passion Embellishments pack that's in the New Occasions catalog. There's flowers and there's leaves. And I took a leaf, and I also took the thin silver thread. You can hardly see it. Thin metallic thread, and I actually looped it together several times and tied a bow with it. I thought that was a really pretty little addition to the card. So basically, you're going to find the ends and match them together. I know this is really thin and hard to see, and I'm going to loop it again. So now I've got a fold and 2 ends together. Okay, and so now I've kind of made like a thicker thread. And I'm going to try my best to weave all of this through the little hole in the embellishment. See if I can get it all the way through. Perfect. And then I'm going to tie a knot. And then eventually I'm going to tie the bow. I just want to make sure I have even ends to work with. And I'm going to tie a bow. Like so. And then we just kind of tug on the ends till we're happy with our bow. And you just trim your end here so you have that. And then you need a glue dot to stick your bow to your heart. And I just put mine off to the side there. And kind of fuss with your bow a little bit till you get it looking the way you want and have the strands where you want. Okay, and the glue's going to the glue dot will help things kind of stay together. But there you go. So I have like a lighter colored one and a darker colored one, and they're just beautiful. So that is the first watercolor technique, and I hope you enjoyed it. Really simple. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.